Hey, lick my plate, you dog!
Those things is dangerous. You're liable to get hurt.
Let me ask you one question. Are you having fun? Because I promise you, you and I are going to have some fun.
Oh, no. Show me what I fear, so I don't fear it no more.
And get that thing off my cutting board.
Welcome back to the Dreadcast, one and all. To the late night Dreadcast here on.
Have you got wine?
Here on Horror FM. Here we are, myself, Tom, and the lovely Aidan over there.
Hello.
Here to talk to you.
He has got wine.
If you will, here to discussion with you, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake from 2003. Just going to pour myself a nice glass of Shiraz. What have you got tonight? Share it in the comments, the live comments right now as we're recording. Write it in the comments right down there. I'm just going to pour myself a nice glass.
It's like smooth nighttime radio.
There we go. Just keep going. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit. There we go.
Beautiful.
That should do for the episode. I'm sorry, folks. I'm shouting here. So yes, welcome one and all to the Dreadcast. And happy 50th. I can't do this voice constantly, but it is quite soothing on the throat. Also, I poured way too much more wine than I expected for the joke. So I'm going to have to commit to this.
Because you were talking really slowly and you had to keep pouring as you were talking.
The size of that. Yes, I have got wine. This
is going to be an interesting discussion then, isn't it?
Well, I'm also chasing it with a monster at 8:45 in the evening. So
just to take the edge off.
And then we balance it down with 2 pints of water. Yes, it's the autumn months, so, slap the electric heat.
The wine months.
The wine months. I'm in my my soccer months. I've got the wine out.
Into wine season.
Cheers, everyone.
It is officially 1 o'clock. Cheers, mate. I've only got a lukewarm cup of tea. But
well, that's standard from being up north.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm going to say it for a third time. Welcome back to the Dreadcast. We are celebrating the 50th anniversary of one Mr. Face, first name Leather, and his antics in the state of Texas.
Yes.
With his most favourite utensil. It can't be a utensil.
I think.
Can you class a chainsaw as a utensil?
Not really.
You could carve a name into something with a chainsaw.
Well, yeah, but I don't see how that's relevant.
All right, what if you put ink on the chain, and then it was like a pen, and you were like,
and just with a tattoo.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our 50th. We're celebrating all of October 50th anniversary of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with a few films here and there from said series. Last week we covered Leatherface from 2017, a film not needed.
Nope.
I want to get into that in a minute. But yeah, so that was probably one of the most disappointing films of the whole series. I would personally say, I know you haven't seen every single film of the series now.
I think I have.
Have you seen every single one?
I think so. I can't think of one that I'm missing. I mean, there are some that I know better than others, but I think I've watched
1, 2, 3, which we'll be doing next week.
Certainly seen those and 4. Where's your little handy little?
My hand. It's in the chat. It's in the chat.
I will scroll up and find that again.
You've obviously seen Return / Next Generation.
Yeah.
You've obviously seen today's film, which we will be covering. I would hope you've seen today's film, otherwise this is going to be a mess.
I've watched it. I watched it last night. I mean, it's several. I've watched it several times. Yeah, and I've seen the sequel / prequel, the beginning.
Oh, fantastic! I wasn't actually sure. I wasn't sure if we've actually discussed. I know we've discussed you were going through them a while back. I didn't know if you actually hit every single one.
No, I think the only one that I'd not seen previously was was Leatherface, 2017 Leatherface, and I wasn't sure about the 3D one. But
that's fine.
I have definitely, officially, as of this point, I have seen all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies at least once. Some of them will only be once.
Yeah, I was going to say at least once, but that goes for most of them, maybe half at least. Yeah, it's an incredible hit and miss franchise. So yeah, like we said in the last episode, and we'll say in this episode, this month celebrating 50 years. We normally do an episode a week, so 4 episodes this month. Split it in half. 2 good, 2 not so good. Although, as he wags his finger with emphatic
I think
wag.
I know what you might be about to say, but go ahead.
I hadn't seen part 3 in a long time, and I kind of had negative thoughts on it.
Right.
Rewatched it in prep for our forthcoming episode on Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I hate the title of it; it's awful.
Yeah.
It's a solid film.
I
in my
kind of
opinion,
like it.
it's a solid. So in theory, we've got
Fond
2
memories
good,
of it.
2 fairly good. Well, 1 perfect. We got rid of the dirge. I think. I think now we're on the home straight now for the rest of the month.
Yeah.
I think. Thank God we weren't doing Texas Chainsaw 3D. We'll do that in the future.
No.
Yeah, no, we will. No, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
See, this is what we were saying about watching them. Or some of them I'll watch only once, and I was about to add, unless you make me watch it again for this. And that's exactly what's going to happen, isn't it?
Yes.
When are we doing the Netflix one again then?
No, that's done. Oh wait, no. We are. You didn't review that. Oh,
No,
we
I
may
didn't
have to
review
do
that.
that one again. That will be fine though, because that will just be. I'm sorry if you like it out there in internet land. That'll be a complete piling on that film. Because there's not many redeeming factors about that film, in my opinion.
No, there
but
isn't.
that's just here in the Dreadcast HQ Central. The Southern Dreadcast HQ Central. That's the opinion we have here. So yeah, 50 years, and today's film, the remake, the remake that kicked off remakes, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, remakes were happening for decades before, but this was the remake that kicked off I would say the more modernistic remakes. There was like an era where they were just bashing them out one after the other.
And
like
this was what kicked it off.
Yes, in 2003, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a Michael Bay production. A lovely Michael Bay production. I'm surprised there weren't many more explosions.
No, I didn't actually. I didn't realize it was until I watched it last night. In fact, that's one of the things about watching it again last night, because I've seen this. This was probably my 4th time watching, and
I think I'd probably say the same. Maybe, yeah.
there was a few things I picked up on that I'd not picked up on before, and that was one of them. I was like, oh shit, Michael Bay had something to do with this. I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was his production studio. He didn't actually direct it. The director was his first time directorial debut, but which I believe he went on to do the Friday the 13th remake as well. Said director. Now that again, another remake in the 2000s, but that one I'm going to need to rewatch. I don't have fond memories of that film.
He also directed the Conan the Barbarian 2011 movie.
And what are your thoughts on that? Yeah. Being our Conan the Barbarian specialist over here. Yeah.
It's not great. No, I kind of like the Friday the 13th movie when I first saw it, but I did watch it again recently, and I think I changed my opinion quite a lot.
Jason had like tunnels under the ground, didn't he?
Yeah, he was popping up out little tunnels, and well, I mean, basically, I think there is I don't know if it's on the DVD copy, because I think I've still got my DVD copy of it, and I'm not sure if it's on there. But there was like a making of featurette that explained why they introduced those, and it was.
Oh really? No.
And it was basically because Jason's sort of seemingly supernatural teleportation abilities
You telling me?
Or like a bit of a trope of slasher films anyway, that it's like suddenly he appears behind and how has he got there, and and Leatherface has it a little bit as well with his silent mode chainsaw where he can suddenly just spring out and rev it up and nobody had any idea he was lurking.
Revs it up with one pull of the cord as well.
I know. A friend of mine is a landscape gardener, and he I don't know if he tweeted earlier today something about the most. I don't know what he was watching, but I'm assuming it was a chainsaw film.
Yeah.
Because he said the most unrealistic part of this movie is that the chainsaw starts on the first pull.
Anything with a pull motor like that, like petrol powered lawnmowers, things like that. It's never first time.
No. But yeah, the explanation for the tunnels was to sort of add some realism to this like seemingly supernatural ability of slashers like popping up out of nowhere. And it was like, well, that's how he does it. He's got tunnels.
He built it, did he? He built all these tunnels. Yeah.
While he was, waiting the 30 years for his revenge, for somebody to just stumble across the abandoned summer camp. Yeah, he was busy decking it out, like the VC.
Decking it out?
Tunneling it out, boring it out.
Like you said, dicking it out. That's for our Friday the 13th episode coming up soon. Stay tuned, folks. Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. In my opinion, this is one of the, I want to say best. Not one of the best, because it's up there as a good remake, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree. It is.
It doesn't follow the original shot for shot. It follows its sort of concept, but adds its own story elements to it just to help it to be.
I think it's to use a sort of cover song music analogy, it keeps enough of the spirit of the original but does its own thing. And the changes that it makes, for the most part, there's a few issues I've got with it, but for the most part they're decent. It's like, it's an interesting little twist you've done. You've taken the general idea of what happened in the original and gone, well, this is how it occurred this time. That's I'd agree with that. I mean, that's my general take on it as well. That it's a good. It has some good nods to the OG, but it isn't afraid to do its own thing. And for the most part, its own thing does work. It doesn't detract or stray too far from the original or anything like that. It's decent.
I mean, as much as we like that, there was such a, from what I've seen, a negative reception to it. Like it didn't bomb. It made a killing. Because horror always pretty much does well at the cinema, especially in the autumn. Horror
made about 17 mil, I think.
It made 107 million at the box office.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, on a 9 million budget. Now that's pretty good. But most of the negative reviews were it sort of losing the aspect and feeling that the original had. But again, you don't want to do the same. You don't want to do the same thing. There's no point remaking perfection, like the same film.
No, you don't want to do the same. But I think as well that it's a product of its time in that regard, because it's 2000s horror film. So it's very bombastic. Whereas in your face and action on all the cast, apart from the sort of obvious villains of the piece, they're all beautiful young teens.
Young adults.
Yeah. And we've talked about 2000s horror movies before, like Valentine and things like that, and it's
your favorite,
my favorite, and and yours, let's be honest.
Hey, I'm not the one collecting the merchandise.
I mean, I'm not the one buying the merch. So, if you want to put it like that, you might be gifting most of it to me, but you've spent more money on that movie than I have.
I've got video footage of you wearing a Valentine's shirt. Okay.
Anyway. But yeah, I mean, this isn't a comparison to the quality of the film, but the sort of the tone of it, and you know what I mean. I mean, I think the only thing that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie is missing in this regard is like the soundtrack, an early 2000s.
Oh right, yeah,
like new metal soundtrack.
that would kill it. That would absolutely kill it. That only works for a slasher like a Valentine, like a whodunit slasher.
Yeah.
Not a, I guess, still slasher, but a slasher that is focused heavily on the horrors of this cannibalistic, psychotic family that you are seeing a lot more of than a whodunit killer in the darkness behind, you don't know who it is.
Yeah. But by the same token, the original is very much a 70s horror film. It has that same tone and mood to it. So yeah, they are both, products of their time.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going, just to sort of round it off. That's why it's not going to have that. I think it's a deliberate choice because you want to do your own thing to not have it exactly following the same sort of beat and the same mood. But I think it's also just the style of the time situation as well.
As was the style at the time. So yeah, this kicked off like remake after remake with like House of Wax, Omen. I mean, the Omen remake was pretty poor. Rob Zombie's Halloween, Friday the 13th, like we mentioned. Now I look at this list, and I'm starting to read them out. They may have pumped out a lot of remakes, but my God, they were not good. House of Wax, I didn't mind. It's quite fun. It's quite fun seeing Paris Hilton get killed on camera.
I mean, that was the draw for it. That was the whole advertising.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Angle was see Paris get killed. I think that was practically the tagline for the movie.
But My Bloody Valentine 3D, which we have actually looked at, which check it out here. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which is absolutely dire. Well, The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage,
doesn't exist. Won't acknowledge its existence.
That might not exist, but the original does, and you can find our episode here as well. So yeah,
Last House on the Left we've got as well. Yeah, the Amityville.
Amityville Horror with Ryan Reynolds.
There's a bunch, isn't there?
They just
Hills of Eyes.
Now I like the Hills Have Eyes remake.
The Hills of Eyes is a good one. It's the same, very much the same vein as this. Yeah, it's a decent.
Very raw film, that. Very raw film. But for the most part, they pump them out. I don't know by hand the profit that any of the box office that any of these films made, but I imagine they still did well, even if they were like half of them were panned. Because, like I said, horror always does well. People will always go to see horror films. Yeah,
they will. I mean, I don't think many of them did well enough to get sequels. Hills of Eyes did. Hills of Eyes remake got a sequel, and Halloween.
Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Halloween did. But
yeah, not many.
I don't think any of the others did.
Not many. We'll get into the story and meat and potatoes in a second. You see, I've got I watched the DVD of it.
There's some very nice set dressing here. Yeah,
we got the wine as well. There's not much going on because I haven't got much space to put the stuff. But if you check out the Dreadcast social medias, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, you can find a nice little ensemble of all the Texas Chainsaw Massacre gear I have acquired over the years. So yes, including the original DVD of the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, featuring the gin from Wishmaster on the front.
Yes, is that the 2-disc one with all the making ofs and stuff? I think it's the same copy I've got. Have you still got the little paper leaflet in there? Of course I have. Just loads of ads for other movies.
Kaboom! Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy versus Jason.
What else
There's also some really random stuff in there as well.
Wow, there is. I haven't looked at this in a long time.
Yeah, I looked at it last night. We've got exactly the same copy, I think.
We've got Two Towers. We've got a bit of Charlie. I don't know what Charlie is.
No, I don't know what Charlie is.
We've got
Willard. Don't know what that is.
Underworld. I don't like the Underworld films.
No.
Oh my word! What is on the back here?
Is there a weird thing about a zoo or animals or something like that?
We've got the best family film since Finding Nemo.
Yes,
I'll
I
have you
think
know.
this is the one I'm talking about.
We have Secondhand Lions. With
That's the one. What is that?
I'll tell you what that is.
Second-
That's the best family film since
just
Finding Nemo.
I'm just going to quickly IMDb search
this-
Second-Hand Lion.
Michael Caine, Robert Duvall, and Haley Joel Osment.
Michael Caine has gone on record and said he will definitely just do stuff for the check.
Of course,
Sure,
you will.
what's that Jaws film he did?
We also have Sex Lives of the Potato Men.
One of the worst films ever reviewed ever. I think that's consistently like.
I never saw it, but that may be one of the most British films you'll ever just see a poster of.
I mean, it is incredibly
Sorry,
British.
it's mirrored.
It's very, very bad by all accounts. I've never seen it.
Oh, it's got Mackenzie Crook and of course Freddy vs Jason: The Return of the King. But this is still more than you get in most Blu-rays these days. So, yeah.
Yeah, I got a kick out of opening the DVD case and finding that. I was like, oh wow, you don't get this. And I'm assuming the actual relevant material is just a list of the chapter titles or something, is it?
Scene selection, yeah, scene selection. But it's nice. I really like the cover. I love the poster. It's very it's quite ominous. It's not much. I wish it didn't have this. I wish it didn't have the review lines from Total Film and Daily Mail. Total Film, absolutely bloody terrifying. Daily Mail, scary movies are back.
Thanks, Daily Mail.
Yeah, thanks for that. Because if you look at the actual poster, it's a really cool poster. It's just the face and the title, very subtle. Do you remember the trailer for this film as well? The original teaser trailer.
I do not know.
So it was the police camera footage, the black and white police camera footage from the film.
The way the film is bookended, yeah.
And that was it. And I think that's fantastic marketing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't show anything else of the film. You don't show how the film is Hollywood. The film is Hollywood. You don't show anything like that. You show the gritty rawness of the police camera
nowadays
footage.
we'd see. I mean, well, contrast it to the 20 whatever it was, the Netflix one.
Oh,
trailer-
like the bus
trailer for that,
scene.
which shows, it shows absolutely everything. Yeah.
Chainsaw.
And again, there's something we talked about and mentioned many, many times about how much of films generally, not just horror films, but films generally are given away in the trailers now and shown in the trailers. Well, yeah, no, that's really good because that's exactly what a teaser trailer should be. It's, yeah.
Although I say that, I can't find it, but like I am 100%. I'm so certain. I remember seeing it as a very quick teaser. All I'm finding is like official trailer that's like 2 to 3 minutes long.
Yeah, there's a couple of on.
But no, I remember the marketing.
TV
Oh, here it is. Very early. Is this it? Just turn the black screen. Brilliant. No, yeah, like there's comments here. I distinctly remember seeing this in the theaters and it was instantly psyched. I think it's great marketing material. Not as incredible as the one we'll talk about next week with Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3's trailer. Have you ever seen that?
No, I've not.
Oh, I look forward to talking. We'll go watch it
We'll watch
later on. It's incredible. It doesn't fit the film one bit. It's incredible. So this film, the remake, it follows pretty much the same pattern as the original. We have a group selection of young adults making their way, I think it was from a festival or a concert in Mexico through Texas. And certain events occur, which we'll get into. They're different in this film compared to the original, that then lead them to having encounters with a family that at the beginning don't seem that trustworthy. You wouldn't really trust them. You wouldn't. I mean, there's a lot of different characters with the said family in this film than there are in the original. In the original, we only get three and a half if you class the grandpa as a character. Well, yeah. This, we have a full-fledged family that live in this house.
So
over the film, our young adults start getting pursued, attacked, unalived, all in
Say killed. Say murdered.
I would, but I'm starting to learn how this algorithm works. I'm trying not to swear at the beginning. It's like on TikTok. They can't say porn stars. They have to say corn stars.
That's ridiculous. I hate the
It is
world.
it is ridiculous, isn't it? You have to say unalived or like.
We
they
have
get
these
they get
perfectly
offed.
good words in our language that, you know, mean things and are used to convey certain ideas and concepts. Like,
So these little pricks get offed with a chainsaw by a guy with a skin on his face. Yeah, but
Yeah.
for the
that's
most
what
part,
happens.
the film pretty much follows the same pattern as the original. And one point I really love throughout this film, we rarely see Leatherface that much. We don't see him that much. The main focus is on the family. They're the main evil, especially Arlie Ermery. I'm going to get that name right one day. Who weirdly enough, when you first watch this film, you think he's like the dad, the patriarch of the family. No, he's the son of a mum that looks about the same age as him.
Yeah.
Very odd. We'll get into that, but yeah, for the most part, at the beginning, the film is pretty straightforward compared to the original. Whereas we get the hitchhiker, they pick up the hitchhiker, and he just is. I don't know how you describe the hitchhiker. He's out of his fucking mind. You start to learn this guy is not with it. He cuts Franklin's hand, burns the pitch he takes with him. They kick him out, rubs the blood on the van, and that's how we know who to target. This one, they encounter a young, distraught girl just walking down the road. Pick her up, try to reason with her. She's lost her mind, clearly gone through some trauma. Whips out a gun. Where does she whip it out from?
Yeah,
Who knows?
she whips
Doesn't
it out.
matter. She's got it with her. Puts to her mouth, I believe her mouth, not her forehead. Blows her head clean off. Blows a hole right through her head.
Yeah.
But the reason why I just wanted to go to this part is because this is one of my all-time favourite shots. I love this shot.
Yeah, we get a fantastic shot.
The camera, she's sat at the back of this, like, it's like a VW van. I don't think it's a VW van, but it's like it. The camera starts in a POV way as if it were in front of said girl.
Yeah.
And then pulls back through the blown hole in her head to the back of the van.
Yeah.
As it
You got
comes
the other
out
passengers
of
looking at her.
yeah, as it comes out the back of her head just flops. Perfectly timed. I love this shot.
It is a great shot. And I don't feel like you get, and I think other people have talked about how great this shot is, because, you know, it's well deserved. It is fantastic. And really inventive, and I don't feel like you get such inventive shots in films generally anymore. Yeah, no, it's a great point. And generally it brings me on to something I did want to talk about, which is one of the ways that this film sort of nods back to the original is we get a lot of those sort of wide angle shots of Texas, of the van just down the road, and
we get a lot of low wide angle.
Yeah. So, you know, we've got a lot of the similar stylistic choices with the film. As you said, you know, plot wise, it does follow the beats of the original like quite a lot.
It really does, yeah.
But there is a slight twist. It's either two things. It's either it's a good little, we've done the same thing here. So if you know the original, you can go, oh, that's good. And it doesn't cram it down your throat in the way that some films do, where they practically pause and start going, hey,
remember this?
We said the thing.
I don't think, in fact, now you say that, I don't think there's really that much of that at all.
There's nothing like that. I mean, there's no like telegraphing it, about highlighting it, or
remember berries, if you will.
No, yeah.
There's
nothing,
not.
But there are little things like the fact that Leatherface falls and cuts his own leg with a chainsaw, which is something that you know, happens in the original.
It does.
And you know, you'd go, oh, he's done the same thing. But it's not like
the truck at the end as well.
Yeah. There's that. There's I mean, they do a bum shot of her walking towards the house as well, as we've said, is like
because it's just such a great.
It's
shot.
almost a staple
can't
Texas
not.
Chainsaw Massacre scene at this point.
You can't not do it.
And there was something else as well, which I can't quite remember now. It's annoying me.
Well, it's
I'm
like
sure I
a
wrote it down.
subtle reference in a way.
Yeah, little subtle references.
I mean, as different as the house is for the family, you've got the metal sliding door.
Yeah,
which is great.
I mean, the first kill of the movie is the same as
brilliant.
The first kill in the original. I don't think it has quite the same impact. Pun intended.
No, because I completely agree with you. I think the impact of the original is the way it's shot, the way the film is shot, the way the film is shot like a documentary, the way this is shot is filmed like a film, a Hollywood film.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot more thought put into the angles, the lighting, although the lighting, but the color grading was overdone with this film. The color grading of this film is blue, brown, and green, like majorly. But that shot of the first kill in this to Erin's boyfriend, Erin, our main, Jessica Biel, our main girl, her boyfriend. It's kind of like a down low in the corner looking up at him with Leatherface behind, rather than the original. It's just a straight on shot. It's just a straight looking shot. Yeah, you're right. There are a lot of subtle nods. Subtle, but not too in your face nods.
Yeah. Which is how it should. It's how it should be done. It's exactly how it should be done. You don't. Presumably, you know, people that went to see this will have seen the original.
Well, I don't know. Now, yes, but this came out in 2003. This was around the time, year maybe before, where I first discovered the original at school. Because I remember a friend had it. I think I've told this story before on the pod. A friend had it on video that his dad had got from a dodgy guy down the pub or something, and he brought it into school and was like, "This is so gory. We got to try and watch this. It's going to be so cool." And we watched it, and it wasn't gory, but it was still terrifying at that age. And then I remember this coming out, going, "What? Wait, is this the same film? What's going on?" So for the older kids, probably I would have thought a lot of time this would have been their first.
Maybe.
I
don't
know.
know.
I'm assuming here.
But well, I mean, I'd like to think that people going to see this, by and large, will have seen the original. So
I agree. I'd like to think that
those little things in there are little homage. No, they're nods. They're little homages to the what happens in that in the 74 one. So I can't remember where I was going with this. I've completely lost my train of
I'm
thought.
so sorry.
It's all right. But yeah, well, that's like I say. I'll just go back to the point. Is that that's how they should be. That's how films should be presented when they're like this.
Yeah.
You don't need to telegraph it. I don't want it like lit up for all to see. The example that keeps popping into my head right now is the atrocious delivery of the "get away from her" line in Alien, the latest Alien. That's got to be the worst example of this of thing.
I was just trying to think. I was just on our YouTube page, which is actually the Dreadcast on YouTube. Go check it out. I was trying to look back from our last episodes because I was like, I know we've talked about a film that overdid the references. And I think it was Romulus. Yeah,
definitely.
Some were subtle, some were just Yes, we get it. We're in an Alien film. We know.
But they should all be subtle. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they should all be subtle. It's fine to put them in there, but they should always be subtle.
Yeah.
There's a... Oh, that was the other one. Leatherface blasting through the door of the house, I think, is another little nod.
I know he does it in the original. What door does he do it on this one?
He slices through the screen door when he's chasing Jessica Biel out.
Yes, he does, yeah.
Look
what your brother did to the door!
Which got me thinking, like, we know the Hewitts, as they are in this movie, have been up to this in the same way that the Sawyers had they've been at it for a while. This is what they do. They lure hitchhikers or people in under false pretenses and and they pick people off and they fill their larders. So it can't be the first time that somebody has managed to get out the house and run away. So how many times has Leatherface burst through the front door?
Not again.
And similarly, at the end when he's running and he trips through the wire fence and he cuts his own leg. It can't be the first time he's fallen while running with a chainsaw. Because it can't be the first time that he's been chasing somebody through the woods at night with a rev, with a switched on rev chainsaw.
Yeah. No, yeah.
just while I was watching,
really thought about that. Yeah.
He burst through the door again. Oh, he did that in the original. I was like, how many times has he burst through the door? Because this can't be the first time somebody's run away from him. So,
no, because especially when you're getting much more of a inside look in their house. You see the kitchen. There's some sort of meat. We don't know what meat it is, but we can only assume because we're starting to learn who these people really are that it might not be kosher. This meat.
Well, I mean, no, probably not. But there are animals in the house. There's chickens, pigs, and stuff.
As is tradition.
That's his tradition.
But in the original, we've got bone furniture.
There's none of that in this.
This is much more of a country house.
Yeah, we do have that sort of stuff in the basement, which is obviously
his domain.
Leatherface's little he's that he's got a butcher's slab there, and that's where the bits and pieces of previous victims are. There's a box of fingers and a hand, and then an entire corpse that's just in a pretty far gone state of decomposition. But yeah, there's none of the little trinkets and the sort of bone furniture and the Blair Witchy style fetishes and things like that.
As far as this film and somewhat the beginning, the sequel that came out after this, I think other than the original family, this is the second best iteration of the Sawyer/Hewitt family. There's the Leatherface family that has been portrayed in a Texas Chainsaw film. Yeah, that helps with the acting, especially like we said, R.L. Emery. One day, get it right. But they're all quite interesting. I'm not a big fan of the little kid that our heroes interact with in the beginning.
Yeah,
but
Jedediah.
Is it Jedediah in this one or Jebediah? Because in Leatherface it was Jeddah.
I think it's Jedediah. I'm going to double check now, but I'm pretty sure it's Jeddah.
Yeah.
They are good. I agree with that point. I do think they're a good depiction of the family. I do feel there's one or two too many of them. That's my only nitpick. Is I feel like there's just a few too many.
Let's go through them because we talked about the film is very similar to the original. We do have our young adults. There is 5 of them. Again, similar to the original. We've got Erin, her boyfriend, Erin Hardesty. Her last name is named Hardesty.
Oh, okay.
I don't think there's meant to be any relation. Obviously, it can't be. It's a remake.
No,
it's still
remake,
set in her boyfriend Kemper. Stupid name. Her brother, I lost his name for a second here.
There is a Morgan and an Andy. I can't tell which is
Morgan.
Which. I didn't really catch all the names as I was watching.
Morgan is Erin's brother, not in a wheelchair, unlike Franklin. And we've also got 2 who I thought were friends until I read it. They're apparently hitchhiking, Andy and Pepper.
Yes.
So we got the 5.
Yes, they are. They're hitchhikers. I actually thought that it was just Pepper that was hitchhiking, and Andy had just got lucky that they picked up a hitchhiker that fancied him. I didn't realise that it was both of them that were hitching.
Oh man, I'm going to double check that. In fact, we don't fact check on this podcast.
And we don't fact check on this podcast. It was just, and I don't listen to the dialogue most of the time when I'm watching movies either. Apparently. But yeah, I think there is a line where they talk, and I thought she said something like, "Oh, bet you didn't realize this was going to happen when you picked up a hitchhiker."
She does.
or
No, you're right.
something like that. So yeah, I think it's just like three buddies and his sister, and then they pick up a random girl because they've been to Tijuana, haven't they? Partying for the weekend.
Yes, to not get drugs, but in the end, got drugs.
Yeah.
In a pinata.
It was the 70s. £2 of weed in a pinata.
What a deal!
That's what you take from. That's the standard. What's the word? Souvenir coming back from Tijuana, I imagine.
But
the only thing I know about Tijuana is from movies like this, so it just
But the drug part, I mean, for instance, there are 5 young adults. Again, very similar to the original. The drug part, though, comes into play later with one of our family members, Sheriff.
Yeah.
Which kind of acts as the twist of the film.
Yeah, in a similar way as the cook
does. Yeah.
The cook does. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I think I like more than the cook. And I say this because I think the actor has got a lot to do with it. Because
he's incredible. He's so
he's
good.
menacing and a scary dude, and like really doesn't give like a single fuck while he's like berating people, threatening people. I mean, he molests the corpse while they're like wrapping up the suicide victim, and he does not care at all.
So that part, where have they parked? They parked up at an old mill.
So the kids go to the truck stop diner, whatever you want to call it, to use the phone.
That's
it.
it.
The sheriff tells them to meet them at the old mill.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's the matriarch of the family that calls the sheriff and because they're all in on it.
Yes, who looks around the same age as said sheriff, which is again very odd casting, but hey ho. Yeah, so when the sheriff, quote unquote, turns up, Camper and Erin have ventured off and found the farmhouse. Mm-hmm. So we're left with Morgan, Andy, and Pepper. But yeah, when sheriff turns up, it's not quite an ordinary procedure, if you will, with a police officer handling a dead body.
No.
He really has a good time with that body.
He does. But we were counting the family members. That's
yes,
what we're doing.
yes.
So,
I was trying to find a segue because we'd skipped over like I talked about the intro with the hitchhiker, the girl they picked up. I just want to briefly talk about our main protagonists in the film, but no, let's talk about the family. So Ronald Lee Ermey plays the sheriff, or what's his name?
He's credited as Sheriff Hoyt.
Hoyt. That's it. Yeah.
We got the young kid Jedediah, who's just hanging out in that abandoned mill, and that's what I was going to say as well. Sorry, just to go off tangent again.
We're talking about the family here.
He seems to have a little odd collection of like doll heads and glasses and stuff, which is like. Going back to what we were saying earlier about there not being that sort of fetishist stuff in the house, there is like a little nod to it with his little like private collection of trinkets. So yeah, the little kid Jedediah. Then we have the mother, the matriarch. I'm not sure if she's given. Is she given a name? I don't know if she's given a name.
Yeah, she is. Is she? Well, this is embarrassing.
I'm trying to find it, but there's somebody called Old Luda or something.
Luda May Hewitt. She is the head of Hewitt.
That is her. And then we have the other two that are in the old fella in the wheelchair, the sort of grandpa figure.
Who's actually coherent and conscious compared to the original grandpa, who is he's a sitting corpse, pretty much.
Yeah, old Monty, I think his character is.
But he's basically your first interaction with the family, because you don't know Luda is part of the family. You don't know the sheriff is part of the family. You know, they're in a unsavory part of Texas, shall we say? But we know this. All right, this is the house. This is the guy.
Yeah, we
know this is the house. We can know.
Yeah, we've not seen Leatherface at this point, and yeah, Jedediah is also elsewhere and doesn't come into it. So yeah, it is Monty in his wheelchair, and they go and ask to use the phone, and that's what it is. So and then the other two, we get the trailer later on with the I think she's
forgot about them.
She is credited as Tea Lady in trailer. And then there's a younger lady, Henrietta.
Some of the most unsettling characters.
With the baby. They are, but I feel like they're just too many. Because
you don't need them.
No, because what it feels like, it's only actually a couple of instances. But like just to, again, we're going to do a full episode on the original, but just to use the plot of the original, we have that one instance of Sally running off, finding refuge at the cook and being brought back to the house. Whereas in this, it feels like there are like 3 or 4 instances of somebody running off to get help from someone they think is a safe person, and then ultimately being betrayed. And it seems to be, it feels like it happens half a dozen times or more, and it's not that many. It's maybe only 1 or 2 actual instances of it. But because it's basically everywhere they turn, there seems to be more family members or people that turn out to be family members. You know, she's run sort of half an hour through the woods and finds a trailer and thinks it's a refuge, and it turns out that they're related as well. And the family just feels a little bit bloated for me. There's just one or two too many members that
I agree.
Just don't need to be there. Like I say, I don't have a huge amount of nitpicks for this, because as we said at the top of the show, I feel like it's a really good remake. I feel like it's a really good Texas Chainsaw Massacre film in its own right. But yeah, that is one of my biggest nitpicks with it, is that it just feels like there's too many antagonists.
I'd completely forgotten about the 2 ladies in the trailer. And yeah, now I remember. I very much agree with you. At first, I was kind of like, I don't mind. I don't mind the mom, the 2 sons, the 3 sons. Again, the family tree is pretty obscure. Like if we look at Hoyt, portrayed by Ermi, he would have been 59 in this film. The mother would have been 73. That's a 14-year gap. Possibly works in unsavory areas like this. But
I think there is a heavy indication that the branches of the family tree are perhaps not quite
entwined,
as widely splayed as they might be.
So he and the other guy was called Old Monty.
Yeah.
He's Luda's brother. That was it. So we've got Luda's brother, the guy in the wheelchair. Hoyt is her son, and Thomas Hewitt,
Leatherface
is also yes. Yeah. And I don't. So she's Tea Lady in trailer.
That is her own
credited.
Well, see, I mean, you can't even bother to name the character. They don't really add a whole lot apart from this other, one more instance of you've not found a safe place yet, keep running. And there's a very small subplot of there being a baby that they've abducted, basically. Henrietta has this child, and they find a photograph, don't they, of a family that have...
Yeah.
Well, it's the family of the girl that commits suicide, basically. So the implication is that the entire family were killed, apart from the baby who Henrietta's taken away, and the girl who managed to escape, but then ultimately shot herself. But yeah, you know,
They're not necessary.
You could lift that out and not really lose anything.
What they could have done was left it to what I've just discovered, which I, hands up, had no idea existed, was a series of comics that continues the film.
Okay, right. I didn't know about this either.
I had no Wildstorm Comics. Hang on, let me link this to you. Breaking news, folks! Breaking news. If you're listening to this, I assume you probably knew this. In fact, there's a specific Texas Chainsaw Massacre comic I've been after for years. It's Leatherface versus Jason.
Oh,
but
yeah,
this,
I've seen shots of that one.
But this has even more family members, even more Hewitts in it.
Oh, really? Just on a note, do you know why the name changed from Sawyer to Hewitt?
Can't say I do.
Explanation? Again, we've not researched.
We've not done anything. Not done anything.
Listeners, if you know, let us know.
Not even watched the film, just read it on Wikipedia. Let's have a look. Why did they change the name to Hewitt?
So we can look while we're doing this, and then we're learning together.
Live reactions. Live reactions.
Live reactions, indeed. The series premise involves accidentally placing Jason Voorhees on a train headed for a dumping ground in Mexico. Jason kills its crew and causes the vehicle to crash in Texas. This is the Friday the 13th Jason vs. Leatherface crossover.
Yeah.
That's not the one I'm looking at. Is it the North Star one?
No. Trying to work that out.
I think that link has just taken me to...
I think it might have done.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre comics generally, so this is all of them. Oh, hang on, there we go. The Avatar Press one. 2005, Avatar Press began to release Texas Chainsaw Massacre comics set in the continuity of the 2003 remake. The first was a one-shot. Involves 3 escaped convicts and their 2 female companions encountering the cannibalistic Hewitt family. So after that special, they did a 3-issue miniseries. The miniseries involves a bus full of choir girls along with their teachers and their teacher's daughter becoming stranded in Texas when their bus breaks down near the Hewitt house. When the 2 teachers leave to seek aid, Leatherface kills them while Hoyt finds the girls, plants drugs on them, and then locks them in the Blair Meat Company where they wait for Leatherface to kill them.
That sounds great.
Yeah. And then the final release is another. So there was a one shot, and then a 3-issue miniseries, and then another one shot. So five comics total by the looks of it. The premise of the one shot: a quartet of friends in the midst of a cross-country trip who run afoul of Sheriff Hoyt. Leatherface kills them all except one. And Leatherface wears the mask of her boyfriend and then forces her to dance with him.
Incredible.
There you go.
Incredible. Well, the only reason I found that is because when I was looking at said Tea Lady, the large lady in the trailer. You scroll down, you've got Shiloh Hewitt. Shiloh is the brother of Ezekiel Hewitt and a cousin to Leatherface. And then I was like, who the fuck is Ezekiel? Ezekiel Hewitt is the brother of, yes, we just did that, and the cousin of Leatherface. He appears in the Wildstorm comics. Then we've got Adam Hewitt. Adam is Henrietta's husband and cousin, who is mentioned in the Wildstorm comics. Cal Hewitt, it just keeps going on and on. So
these are the Wildstorm comics that came out after those Avatar Press ones, which again are still set in this same thing. I think it was a license change of ownership or something that moved it, but yeah, I mean that's far too many members.
The house is obviously very different to the original. I like both. I prefer the original.
Because interior decorating aside, it looks more like a house. This one from the outside looks very oppressive. It's like a prison. It's a concrete cube.
I mean, it looks impressive from the specific lighting as well that you get in certain shots, like especially when we get to nighttime, where I'm hoping it's the moon behind the house. Otherwise, they've got a spotlight behind the house, which is blasting light from behind the house, casting like a halo around it. But it's very impressive, very striking.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't look bad, but I feel again, it's I don't know. I feel how to explain it. It feels like and this is going to sound silly because it's a horror film, so of course it is, but a deliberate attempt to make it look scary. Like,
yeah, I get that.
As opposed, like, you know, we've talked about this before with the original. Is the horror of it is that it's kind of unexpected. You find this house and it's a family, and actually it turns out they're all cannibal killers.
It's like a real house.
Yeah, a real house. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas this one looks like bad shit's going to go down if you go in there. It looks.
You wouldn't go and knock on the door to ask for some sugar.
No.
The original, it looks like a normal farmhouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's maybe a bit run down, but a normal farmhouse. Where this looks like a prison, like some sort of neo-fascist state interrogation block. It's awful. Yeah, it doesn't look like a home. And I'm sure it's based on an actual style of house.
Well, it's a real house.
It is actually a real house that they shot in. I mean, well, fair enough, but it's bloody awful.
So I've got it here. Originally, this beautiful old house was built in Austin, Texas in the 1850s and was located where the University of Texas was built. The house is 6,000 square feet with 6 bedrooms and is of a southern
Southern plantation style.
It is such plantation. This is a slave owner's house.
Yeah, well.
If we've ever seen one. I do declare. The family, who is part of the old Austin, moved to the house. They moved the house by train in the 1930s, just like they did in Springfield, but they moved the house down 5 miles down the road. It was rebuilt brick by brick and now sits in Granger, Texas. Condition of the house, it is a rough shape, and at the time these images were taken, the house looked to be abandoned, but they live on. That would be a really cool thing to see. I mean, I know you can visit the original house. I think it's actually a restaurant or a B&B. The original house, which is, I think that'd be incredible to go and view and visit. Let me just show you this picture.
Yeah, it is. I think it is the original one. You can eat there.
So there's
some sort of diner cafe thing.
There's the new one. There's the remake house.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you smarted it up, if you give it a lick of paint, I think it could take the oppressiveness away a bit.
Look, I must admit, looking at that shot of it, it doesn't look as bad as it does in the movie. In the movie, I think it's the side. Yeah, it's the angles of it, and it looks, a lot more disturbing, and a lot less like a home, more like some sort of prison block or something similar.
Also, you add the. I mean, and then you compare it to this shot, which I've used for our artwork. It's just the way of lighting. That's what I was telling you about. The lighting behind the lighting, the camera angle. I mean, even this is a beautiful shot. I love this. That just screams, do not go into that house.
That looks a lot like the cover of the Slipknot.
Yeah.
Or Hope Is Gone or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
I think it's the same colour palette as what's doing it.
Yeah, the green. Yeah, that's exactly the film. That this film is color graded to fuck with browns and greens. I'm looking at All Hope Is Gone. It's just a field, but it looks like yeah. So the house. We don't in the original. We don't really. Again, we'll talk much more about the original when we come to it. Leatherface doesn't really have a domain like he does. They've given him more with this one. So
I think it's implied that it's the seller. I think there's that. I think there is an implication that it's the seller.
We don't get a cellar in the original. We don't see it.
No, it's behind that sliding door, and
Yeah.
that's as much as we know. They obviously added it for the game. They made something up for the
I'm gonna
video
play
game.
that game
I really should.
one day.
But yeah, we like you say, in this one we get a few scenes taking place down in the cellar, which is portrayed as being Leatherface's sewing room / butcher's shop. I mean, he's even got the slab with a roll of the butcher's paper and stuff that he can.
Yeah,
So-
he's fully equipped.
Yeah.
This is the salt for when Andy is
Oh, of course.
second
yeah.
second victim, maybe second. In fact, he's Leatherface's second victim. I'm trying to think now. Erin survives. Kemper's killed first.
Yeah, hammer.
Morgan is. How is Morgan killed? And Pepper. Morgan and Pepper.
Pepper
Morgan's
Pepper
beaten. Sorry. Go on.
Pepper is shot by Leatherface chainsaws her as she's running. When he appears at the van, he gets her there.
Yes, he does. It's somewhat of an off-camera kill. It's implied that he thrusts his chainsaw into a gut or whatever. But Morgan is taken and beaten by Hoyt in the sheriff's car, taken back to the house.
He's then hung on a light fitting by Leatherface and chainsawed as he's dangling.
As he's escaped. He's escaped with Erin.
Yeah.
And he's hung. That's a nasty kill.
Leatherface is about to kill Erin.
Yeah,
and he tries to fight him off. And
So Andy is actually the only one that really gets put on the meat hook, butchered by
meat hook,
Leatherface.
teased them.
Put on the meat hook, like Pam in the original. But he actually has a couple of attempts to try and unhook himself, which is
it's just
gruesome. It's really gruesome.
Gives me shivers. Just that. Yeah, Erin's trying to lift him up, and it's like he gets up a little bit, and then I can just imagine the feeling of the hook like grating bone, and it's just like.
What if it pierced your lung? Like, but back to Leatherface's domain. He has the wrapping, the paper. He has the salt, which he proper. He's already cut off.
He's cut off
Andy's
his leg,
foot,
hasn't he? Yeah.
But then he really looks after it. Does he cauterize it?
Well, I mean, he salts it.
Oh,
He salts it and wraps it in butcher's paper.
he's
but
doing his best. Okay.
I mean, in terms of it's I guess you could call it. I mean, it stops the bleeding. In fairness,
Yeah, it does.
He does stop the bleeding. I don't think it's entirely a charitable action. It's more just like keeping him alive to keep him fresher for longer, I guess. But yeah, he does effectively tourniquet the artery. I mean, died. Realistically, he'd have died, bled out.
Oh yeah, easily.
Seconds, but yeah, he does. He sort of keeps him alive, and then leaves him there for Erin to find later on.
But when she does find him, and he asks to be put out of his misery, the way she goes about it,
I've got a note about this.
In the stomach.
I know, the worst possible way you could do it.
So yeah, when he's begging her, because he realizes there's no way out for him. He's begging her that
he can't
finish
she
it,
can't-
just end it for me.
Yeah, she can't get him off the hook. He's clearly suffering.
Quite literally.
I mean, even if she could get him off the hook, he's got one leg. He's done, and she begs for a merciful. Well, he begs for a merciful ending, and she stabs him in the gut.
I mean, it kills him, but it shouldn't really.
It shouldn't. He's lucky that it killed him, because that should have been just more hours of agony, realistically.
You stupid bitch.
Yeah. No, I was laughing. I don't know exactly about that exact thing. I was laughing my head off.
Just find a step up and just there in the heart. There we go.
My exact note is put him out of his misery, stabs him in the stomach, fucking idiot.
Yeah. But I mean, for the most part, it's not that gory of a film. And
No.
that is a thing that they
Which-
very much followed from the original. And there's there's blood, which is, again, more than the original. But there's not that much gore.
No, it's not a huge amount, really. I mean, there's, I guess, a couple of extra actual kills that we see compared to the original. But yeah, none of them are like the fountains of blood and stuff like that you'd expect.
You'd expect from a chainsaw going into flesh.
Again, chainsaw. I mean, talking about saying that the first kill not being as sort of impactful. I mean, a lot of that's probably got to do with the fact that it's dark, and a lot of this film, the kills it is nighttime. It is dark. So you can imply a lot and hide a lot, I guess, with the fact that it's nighttime in the cover of darkness.
I guess you could also say a hole through a young girl's head is gory.
Well, yeah.
Or disturbing. Gore. I think gore. I think blood and guts trailing out everywhere. Messy.
I mean, she shoots herself. She blows her head off.
She does.
And
She does. Yeah.
there is brain matter flying about and dripping down the window frame and stuff. I think that's pretty. It's pretty full on.
It's pretty full on.
It's probably the goriest moment in the film. I think it's fair to say.
It might be on top of maybe Leatherface getting his arm chopped off. Because she hacks at that later on.
She does hack at it, but again, I don't think you see very much.
It's
It's
quick shots.
quick cuts and flashes, and he's sort of I don't think you really see it. I think you probably see more when he cuts his own leg, when he falls over and cuts his own leg.
I think the one big downside I had to this film, and I'd forgotten about it when we watched it, was the somewhat subplot of the baby that they had. The two women in the trailer / the family had kidnapped in a way from past victims.
Yeah.
That then becomes the goal for Erin to save.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
I didn't like that either. This is sort of as we get to the end. She's escaped. She's defeated Leatherface. She hides. There's a fairly tense sequence of hide and seek in the meat. Although one thing that did annoy me is that she can't keep quiet when she's hiding. I appreciate you're probably going to be, on edge and nerves jangling and stuff, but she's like loudly screaming wherever she is. Like, that's not how you hide. That's the worst way to do it. But she manages to keep a trap shut long enough to do the old fake out with the pig in the locker and jump out and hack his arm off. And she gets out of there. She escapes. But yeah, then decides to come back and I honestly think if that wasn't in it, I wouldn't have remembered that there was a baby involved.
And you could take it out and the film wouldn't change.
But even if it was left in, like, I don't think I'd have been sat at the end of going, well, what about the baby? I just don't think
completely.
it's a big enough thing. Or I think the other thing as well, and I guess it sounds pretty brutal, but I think in that situation, you just want to get as far away as you could, and you'd be like, well, sucks for that baby, but, it's they're not going to kill it, clearly.
No, they're clearly looking after
it. Maybe not wishing a life on it that it perhaps wants or deserves or needs, but yeah, I think you could have left that as a plot hole. Well, what happened to the infant, and left it at that, because otherwise you just get this little bit of bloating at the end where she has to go back for it.
Yeah, and
we get. I mean, I guess we get some sort of resolution because we get Hoyt being killed.
Yeah, we do.
And we get a final jump, not a jump scare necessarily, but a final lunge, final attempted attack with Leatherface before it wraps. But yeah, I think a better ending might have just been to have her get off in, what's he called, Big Bob's Big Rig or something or other. Big Rig Bob.
The film kind of culminates to it's like a vicious cycle
Yeah.
Because we start off, like I said, with a young girl distraught, traumatized by whatever she's gone through, clearly with the Hewitt family,
Yeah.
and has escaped. And then we cycle back to the end with Erin on her own, distraught, traumatized.
Yeah.
Because of what she's gone through with the Hewitt family.
Yeah, and even some of the dialogue's the same. Is the girl they pick up at the beginning is begging them or telling them they're going the wrong way and begging them to go an alternate route. And similarly with Erin at the end, she's pleading with the trucker not to take her back. Basically, you're going the wrong way. Don't, she says don't stop, and
she grabs the wheel, I think, and that's where he pulls over at the gas station. Small town. And the whole family are there. They're all there.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, that is also the moment she decides to sort of rescue the baby.
Yeah.
If he hadn't have pulled over. But anyway.
Because I don't think, I mean, when she was in the trailer, when she thought she had escaped, she kind of put two and two together, working out, whose baby is that? Wait, you guys aren't who you say you are. Whose baby is that? And drinks the strange drink, which why would you ever fucking do that?
Yeah.
And passes out through the drug that she's given. So I think you're right. I don't think she would have, if she didn't see that baby again.
Yeah.
If she would have carried on trying to escape and get out of
that's
town.
it. She panics. She forces him to stop because she's panicked that they're going too close to the Hewitts. But then she almost uses him, the trucker going into the diner as the distraction that she needs to then rescue the child and escape with it. Yeah, it is almost like a bit of an afterthought at the end. It's not an intentional decision for her to go back. But yeah, that whole sequence, I think, I think a better ending would have been to have another nod, another something more akin to the original. She gets picked up by the trucker. She's distressed and dishevelled, and but free and being driven away.
And have Leatherface just appear going ching, like just nick a bit of the lorry and little dance. End it with a dance again,
or not, and then do the bookend that is there anyway with the police footage and. This is the last known image of Thomas Hewitt, which I think is really brilliant. Good and quite a chilling ending. So yeah, no, I'd agree with you that. I think that I think there's one or two too many family members, and I think that end bit with like the sort of showdown with Hoyt is a bit unnecessary.
The showdown with Hoyt is very over the top. Where the baby's been, she's stolen the baby. They will discover it, and Hoyt, like, he instantly knows what's happened. Mm-hmm. He's searching the lorry, and she's got into his car. I believe it's his his police car that he's obviously stolen. And I think she runs him over, and then reverses, and then runs back over. Just to make sure,
properly to make sure. I mean, It's good. I suppose they when they did the next film, they had to make it a prequel because they'd killed off Hoyt and lopped off Leatherface's arm. So they sort of were resigned to only this being a one shot, I guess. Which is interesting because
for the most part, the original is a one shot. You've got sequels that do have sort of continuity, but you don't think of them.
It's tenuous, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, you don't think of them. You think of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre you don't think of it as Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 1. You think of it as single.
No, it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then there are some sequels.
Yes.
But talking briefly about the prequel, obviously we're not reviewing it in full as part of the 50th anniversary, but I enjoyed that as well. I thought that was a good.
Oh, the beginning.
Prequel. Yeah, the beginning.
I like this universe. If that's
we get an insight into Sheriff Hoyt becoming Sheriff Hoyt. That's explained. That's given to us. We also get an explanation as to why the family are cannibals, as to why they do what they do. Is it Emery in that as well?
Yeah, he's in the original. He's in the beginning. Yeah, obviously with hair dye. Look a bit younger. It's an interesting thing saying like we both kind of enjoyed the beginning because we did not like Leatherface, and that's another prequel.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't think I ever imagined you never need a prequel for a lot of these horror films, and especially for the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The thing that makes them scary is not knowing what's driven them.
Agreed.
Why they're like that. How the fuck this guy has become Leatherface.
Yeah, agreed. And it's something that we have often said that you can definitely spoil things by explaining it too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, shoot me. This is the exception that proves the rule with this one. It is
It's a very rare exception.
Yeah. But I've got a lot of time for the beginning. I think it's decent. There's a sensible reason for there to be some kids there. There's a little bit of a topical reason for it and stuff.
Then again, it's for this universe specifically. So it's for this family, this house, this world specifically. Leatherface was for the original film. So the fact that it's for this film specifically, I feel like it works.
Leatherface tried to be too clever.
It did.
It was too ambitious in what it was trying to do. It wanted a sort of, not whodunit, but who do you think it is mystery throughout, and didn't achieve, what it set out to do.
It's the beginning. We know. We know. Who,
I mean, the family is still in place doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes. There's just a couple of elements that are explained. We get Sheriff Hoyt becoming Sheriff Hoyt. But they're still up to their dastardly tricks, doing what they're doing with people. It's not it's not the first time that they've killed, and it's not the first time that events like this have taken place. It just explains a couple of elements that we were introduced to, but generally the whole sort of family dynamic is already there in place and not explained. Well, we get a monologue about it, but we're not shown it. It's not to that degree.
Did you by chance feel hot and sticky watching this film? And let me.
You're gonna have to elaborate on this, mate.
As I was talking about the color grading, for example, very heavy on the color grading. It's very heavy on the atmosphere that I think they nailed of a hot, sweaty, dirty, sticky summer in Texas. And while watching this, I was getting that feeling of uncomfortableness, like in a London, you're obviously up north. I'm in London. A London summer in the peak of a heat wave is unbearable. The humidity is horrible, and that's how it felt kind of at times watching this. Uncomfortable. In some of the scenes, the atmosphere was really well done. I think it was more so towards the beginning in the daytime, like when they're driving, you can see they're sweating, and it just feels horrible and dirty, and no aircon in that car.
No,
not in the 70s. I felt they absolutely nailed the atmosphere in that sense. I think even the sheriff looked pretty grim and dirty and hot at times. Just everything about it felt dirty.
I see what you're saying. Not something I massively picked up on, but
I didn't get that in Leatherface. Leatherface, I got a clear, dull, bread and butter, degraded horror film. This, I think they nailed the atmosphere of it. I feel like I saved myself there when I asked if you felt very sweaty and Oh, good. We got there in the end. Yeah.
Yourself properly.
But did you though?
Not in the way that you want, Tom.
Well, I'm trying.
Do we have any more? Do you have any more?
Anything more to add? They definitely planned to douse Jessica Biel down at some point in this film.
They did. I mean,
did they? Didn't they just
shoot me? But I did make a note or notice that freezer wasn't as cold as it was meant to be portrayed as.
Did you notice a nipple or two?
Well, no, didn't. Not in the freezer. When she
not the freezer. No, when the water, when the fire.
When they sprayed her down. Yeah, absolutely. But what I'm saying is that it should have been noticeable in the freezer, shouldn't it?
Or when she's trying to hide behind the carcasses.
Yeah, hiding in some meat.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely they did. There was no reason for those sprinklers to come on at all.
And the rain outside helped as well. She's a very stunning woman. Very will easily say she's a very stunning woman.
Yeah.
But as were the times, of course they were going to
well, it's young
douse
beautiful
her
people,
now.
and
Beautiful people.
You've got to, the heroine has to be a little. It's a slasher tradition, isn't it? I suppose. There
also wasn't much set up for the abattoir, right? Or for the
No, she just suddenly comes across. Yeah.
But they do drive past it at the beginning, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I remember seeing.
Maybe I
I'm
missed
fairly
that.
certain we saw it in the daytime at the beginning. Whereas, like in the original, they talk about
They talk
the
about it
granddad.
all the time, and we never see it. Yeah. It's mentioned
kinda
several times.
Flip flop in here.
Yeah.
It's never mentioned, but we go there. It's mentioned, but we never go there. You know.
Yeah.
No.
It was an odd choice to just run. I always wonder why they don't just run straight down the road. Because Leatherface finds her very quickly. Like she goes into the abattoir, meat packing plant, whatever you want to call it, and he finds her straight away. And it's like, how? There's no.
It's fine.
He'd fallen over in the field and had cut his leg, and she'd run up the ramps and whatever. And it's not even entirely clear how she gets in there, but she gets in there.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he's right back behind her again. It's very quick.
Only other note I had, which is actually the first note, the intro, where we get our monologue at the beginning, is voiced by John Larroquette, the same voice actor from the original, which is a really cool aesthetic for the film.
Again, that's how you do little nods. That's how you do little references.
Yeah.
Just little details like that.
The thing with those bookmarks, though, as great as they are, the end where it states this is the last known footage. Mm-hmm. How did they then get that footage?
Now, I asked myself that very same question right at the beginning, and I was like, hang on. Because obviously watching it and knowing what ultimately happens at the end, I was like, hang on a minute. How did this? Because actually, right at the beginning, we see the canisters being put down on a table, don't we, in an office? It's like, this footage is the only surviving footage. And I was like, oh, well, how did they get that then? Because I'm pretty sure Leatherface killed everybody that's recording this at the end. I guess I guess he did a runner, and then other police officers went to find out what happened to the missing police officers. Because Dave and Jim were at the Hewitt place doing their crime scene walkthrough today, but they haven't come home.
They haven't returned. Yeah, that would follow somewhat of the original and part 2 film, where in part 2 they've obviously left the house and they've made base underneath an abandoned theme park, like amusement park. Very strange.
To Batman villains between
very
the first
strange.
and second film.
That second film was wild. I love part 2.
I like it a lot.
But yeah, they kind of on the lam. They're on the lam, but the cook is doing chili contests.
Entering chili contests with human meat. Yeah,
and you'd have thought, Sally. The fact that Sally escaped, he could be pointed out, but it doesn't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter. Okay, it don't matter. That's kind of similar. I guess we could infer with this that, like you said, Leatherface is on the lam with the family, the rest of the family, and they eventually got the film. Maybe Leatherface isn't too smart to pick up the film and dispose of it. He just wanted the bodies and the flesh, and because the guy would have obviously dropped his camera and just left it. So actually, this film, conveniently enough, was originally released October 17th, 2003.
Oh, okay.
I think this might be released just before October 17th.
So this counts as a little anniversary of this particular film as well. Yeah.
It's a shame. It's the 21st, not 20th.
Oh well,
That would have been nice.
it's fine.
But
It still counts. When have we ever done it actually on time? It doesn't. Most of the time, we do it completely by accident.
That's true, actually. I mean, I completely missed the 50th anniversary of the actual film by 6 days on a post on Instagram. But we're culminating it.
Normally, when we go, oh, by the way, this is 25 years since this, it's like we find that out that day.
Yeah. Happy accidents are the best. So yeah, no, it's all part of the lovely 50th anniversary of a very interesting franchise, very fascinating, incredible for the somewhat franchise. So that's I think that's the remake. I think that's it.
That is it.
If you every time we do this, we're an hour and a half in and we're going, if you've not seen this film, but then why would you listen to it? I mean, that's incredible if you've listened to this all the way. Regardless, it's a recommendation from both of us. I know that for sure. It's a good horror film. Take away it's part of a franchise. It doesn't follow this. It doesn't follow that. It's a good horror film.
Yeah,
it's competent.
exactly. You don't need to have seen the original or any of the sequels to watch this. Just you can stick it on, and it's worthy of multiple watches. Like I said, we both said we've watched this 3 or 4 times, or 4 or 5 times each, or whatever. And yeah, I was. In the scheme of things, it isn't that long. Me and my partner watched this when we were going through them all, and I didn't feel like I felt like it was long. It had been long ago enough that I did need to watch it again just to refresh my memory. But I didn't feel like, oh God, I've got to watch that again to refresh my memory. I was quite happy to sit down and watch it again. I kind
of want to watch the beginning now.
Yeah, I think I might bust that out and give that a rewatch because it's I think I've only seen that a couple of times and not for a long time. Absolutely decent one. Glad I've got it in the collection. Quite happy to bust it out, stick it on every once in a while. Good one. I don't
know if there's a. Obviously, we have said DVD here. Oh, by the way, it's 90 minutes. It is. Beautiful. 90 minutes long.
Because I forgot that I had to watch.
Oh yeah.
Well, I got in from work and was quite happy away on my computer playing some Xbox, whatever it was I was doing. And then I suddenly looked at the clock and realised it was 10 o'clock and was like, oh crap, I'm supposed to be watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Because I'd kind of gone, I'll have my tea and I'll sit and I'll have a room, and then I'll watch the film in a bit. And then when I sort of realised it was like, it's 10 o'clock, I need to watch it. But, managed to sit down, watch it, still in bed before midnight. It's fine, not a problem. Yeah, cozy 90 minutes, it's great.
So all I can find, there is a director's cut Blu-ray edition of this film. Mm-hmm. It's 30 quid on Amazon.
Okay, see, I don't know if I'd love it that much that I'd spring for that.
No, and there is a Blu-ray of the beginning for £18.
I mean, maybe keep your eye out in CX or something.
Yeah, for the most part, a lot of the Texas Chainsaw films are not the easiest to find. There's an Arrow release of Part 2, which is quite nice. There's a Blu-ray of Next Generation. That's a must for the collection. But there's no beautiful hard cardboard collector's edition of every single one. And I guess that's more so because of how individual they all kind of come across. Like, they have the somewhat continuity, but they're not your Jason Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4, Part 5.
It's all different studios and stuff as well.
Yeah, the licensing nightmare it must be. But you can pick it up on DVD. It's a DVD for £5. It's a nice one to have in the collection. Yeah. And you know what? It ain't streaming anywhere.
And that's the other thing as well. It's a couple of discs. I know it's got a making of featurette in there. I know it's got some deleted scenes in there. It's got a bunch of. It's got a mini documentary about Ed Gein in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Because he's obviously the inspiration behind Leatherface. So going back to the good old days of DVDs where you actually got some stuff rather than just as well as the movie. You got a bunch of other junk with it. So
Well, speaking of stuff, I've got. I plan to go through all the special features of that collector's edition Texas Chainsaw I've got from Second Sight. So that's going to be a lot of work. So that episode's going to be big. So look forward to that, folks, at the end of the month. Next episode, like I said, we'll be doing these fucking titles. So we just did Leatherface from 2017. We've just done the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. It's not actually called remake. It's just called the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Next episode, we'll be doing Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
Yeah.
Why?
And that's Leatherface, the punctuation mark, colon,
Yes.
not Leatherface, colon. Attorney at law.
Yeah. 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 And then we'll be doing the original. So to all you folks out there, if you're listening to this, and for you, sir, over there with the beard, go watch the trailer. In fact, I want you to watch it after this. I want to see your reaction for part 3. And we will be back next week. Same crazy channel, same crazy podcast with me, Tom, and you, Aidan.
Bye.
Oh, check us out on Spotify, Apple, and all places you listen to your podcasts, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and just Google Dreadcast, and bye!
Arlie Ermey's in Willard.
Wait, shut up.